Okay, so for a while I've wanted to make this video, a video about Survival Hunter and the talent tree and all the issues with it. I've kind of held off for a while because every week I'm like, oh, they're gonna, change things. I'm gonna see a blue post, it's gonna be like, everything's fine, everything's fixed. But they've stopped for a long time now, and like tuning, yeah, it's going on and everything, and things will get changed and things will get fixed, but a lot of the time they do miss things. You always see abilities and certain things, you're like, oh yeah, that's 100% gonna get changed, and it never does. So I'm mainly making this video to be informative to those who don't have beta or are just wondering what's going on with survival. I'll be looking at the issues on the tree, the not just tuning issues, but like the core issues, the things that, well, I don't think really make sense. So just kind of definitely bring it down to being a not so good talent tree. And just to make it easier, instead of pulling abilities from Wowhead, like the screen grabs, where it'll have like attack power times versatility and stuff, blah blah, it's not easy to understand. I've got a character with gear you'll have just before you enter the raid, so yeah, it's not going to be like exactly what damage you'll be doing, but I think it's a good general representation and way easier to follow and understand. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to do some whining, I'm going to do some crying and ranting about survival and that stupid ass talent tree. So the first real issue I have with this talent tree are all these percent damage arms where it's mongoose bite damage increased by 5%. Like some of these are fine in moderation, they're just filler talents. But when there's 8 of them, it just feels like a lot. It makes it feel like half the talent tree of these. And yeah, I know, it was way worse in the alpha. It's gotten better, but it's still so many. Like, come on, 7 of these are 2-point nodes, 2 of which are essentially the exact same thing, and it was even copied and pasted over to the tier set. It just kind of feels bad. I just think the issue is when there's so many of these, it makes you wonder what could have been in their place. What are the things they could have implemented? Like, they already brought back Fury of the Eagle from Legion. Why not get some other talents, some other artifact traits from Legion and throw them on the talent tree? Like, there was loads of passives that they can take. Hellcarver, for example, was super popular in the Survival Hunter community. If they put that on the talent tree, the Survival Hunter player base will literally rejoice. They'll look past everything else, they won't care. They'll love it. And it's just a basic damage arm, but it's a little bit more interesting. It's got that little extra flavor to it. And that's what these need, I think, right? Like just an extra line of text, a little change to 1 or 2 of them. Like keep some of them the same, yeah, sure, a few of them fine, but just not so many, so it doesn't feel like half the tree of these. Because nobody likes picking them, it's not fun to pick one of these. They don't change any way you play, they don't make you feel stronger. They're just there, they're filler spells. At least just change one of these, because they do exactly the same thing, and it's lame. It's so lame. Anyway, moving on. So in Season 3 and 4 of Shadowlands, if you considered Survival Hunter being the Bomberman type spec, constantly throwing out bombs, then in Dragonflight, we're looking like Survival's going to be the Leapfrog spec. Yeah, which kind of sounds weird, right? Like, what do I mean by that? Well, coordinated assault, spearhead, and flanking strike, they all have this leap style effect where you charge to your target. And with the talent terms of engagement currently being at the top of our tree, and as strong as it is compared to the other options, it's kind of a must take right now. And that means you'll be using Harpoon throughout a fight, constantly. Every 20 seconds you'll be harpooning in, which means you have to run out of melee to harpoon back in, you run out of melee to harpoon back in, and you'll be doing this over and over and over again. And some bosses tend to have these preset locations for where you'll land, which is incredibly frustrating. And I get it kind of fits that whole melee ranged hybrid that they want going on with survival, but it's just, in practice, it's not incredibly fun to play with. It's actually really frustrating to keep an eye on this the whole time, constantly running out of melee. It feels bad. And this talent, it's been in the game for ages. It's always been competing with Viper's Venom and Alpha Predator, which have been generally stronger. Sometimes it's been close. It's never been that far behind. And yeah, it's cool that we finally get to play with it, but it's not exactly something fun that people want to play with. But technically, this is just a tuning issue. It's this whole first section right now where what I've currently taken here is what you're always going to take in every single situation, apart from a very niche situation where you're going to be out of melee for too long in a boss fight, so maybe you'll take Aspect of the Eagle. But as far as Ferocity and Energetic Ally go, they're just way too weak right now. Like, we use a pet, but doesn't actually do that much of our damage. An Energetic Ally, like, the focus is nice, sure. Like, that's 10 extra focus at the start of every fight. Mythic Plus, that's not too bad. Every pull, you'll get 10 extra focus. But it's not very good still. It's just like, sure. Like, to compare, we had an Azerite talent where it gave double the focus and crit on top of that. And it was pretty okay. Like, we generally took one of this Azerite trait. But this is mainly just a tuning issue. and it would be nice to go a whole expansion without having dead talents that we never take. But of course, we'll see. They could do something like move terms of engagement down to the second part, and then maybe move something like lunge up to the first part, which it doesn't really solve anything. I just want to use lunge, and lunge being in the first section of the talent tree means we're more likely to use it. It feels less bad to pick up. But what I'm trying to get at is no dead talents is a good talent tree, and currently there are 2 dead talents at the very start. Would rather have that as 0 dead talents. Now if we work our way down the tree a little bit, we'll see our first choice node, Carve versus Butchery, which we're always going to take. We're always going to take Butchery right now. So just another tuning issue, right? Well, not exactly. You see these 2 abilities, they do exactly the same thing. Basically identical, apart from Butchery is an upgraded version of Carve. So Carve does this frontal swing attack, whereas Butchery is more of a whirlwind style AoE effect, which already gives Butchery the 1-up on Carve, but it also costs less focus, it's got a wider range, it does way more damage, it's on a charge system, and yeah, the cooldown's a tiny bit longer, but that doesn't really matter with everything else going for it. So clearly we need more tuning, we need these to be balanced, but that doesn't solve the issue. The issue is they do exactly the same thing, so you'll only ever pick whichever one's stronger than the other. There's no, oh, I'll use this in this situation and I'll use this in this situation, because they do the same thing. This is a pointless choice node, completely useless. So something needs to change, right? So one of them does something different than the other, not doing the same thing. That would be awesome. Otherwise, yeah, it's a pointless choice node. So quick history lesson time. So before the days of throwing bombs and spamming kill commands in Season 3 of Shadowlands, before that tier set was available, the spec has always been a focus management spec, meaning you generate focus with abilities like Kill Command, and then you spend it on things like Mongoose Bite. And this is the case for Dragonflight. However, look at Kill Command, and then look at all these options. We've got talents like Death Chakram, deals more damage, generates more focus, and makes you do 10% more physical damage for 10 seconds. Flanking Strike, double the focus, and deals more damage. Terms of Engagement, more focus, and isn't a full global like Kill Command is. Of course, these all have longer cooldowns, so you'll still be kill commanding, but you'll just be kill commanding a lot less. Not even mentioning this other strong talent, Intense Focus, which makes your kill commands generate additional focus, meaning you'll be using even less kill commands because you'll be getting more focus from them. And as of right now, most of these are easy to talent into, you'll be doing it anyway, and they're the ones that are strong enough that you'll want to take them. Like, as of right now, you'll be taking all of these. Which, there's nothing wrong with it, it's actually quite a good thing. With generating focus through better means, kill commanding less, Mongoose Biting more, that's fun. People like Mongoose Bite. But if we look back at Kill Command, there's a line of text where it has a small chance to reset itself. And Blizzard, they've kind of honed in on this RNG component to the spec. And what they've done is they've added loads of talents to do with it, with increasing the likelihood that it resets, with things that interact when it does reset. So already there's a bit of confliction going on. It seems like the intention is to use lots of kill commands to have all these effects happen, but at the same time you're incentivized to not use as many kill commands since you're already gaining so much focus from other means, as well as kill command itself giving more focus. But this isn't even the main issue. The main issue is when you look at these abilities themselves. Let's first take a look at Fury of the Eagle. It's an AoE spell which does damage in front of you, and kill command cooldown resets reduce the cooldown of this ability. So of course you'll want to use it in AoE situations, and you'll get to use it more often the more kill commands you use. Then when we move down the tree, the node connecting to Fury of the Eagle makes it so when you use the ability, you'll be reducing the cooldown of both Wildfire Bomb and Flanking Strike. So using the ability, you'll be getting more Flanking Strikes, which is like the buffed out version of Kill Command, which means you'll be using way less kill commands because you're using more Flanking Strikes. But it's also telling you to use more kill commands to try and reduce its cooldown, and it's like it's fighting against itself. And this wasn't even mentioning the fact that in AoE situations, you'll be taking the talent Frenzy Strikes, which make Carve and Butchery reduce the cooldown of Flanking Strike every time you use them, meaning more Flanking Strikes in AoE, less kill commanding, and it's like it's trying to tell you to do 2 different things at once, and it's very confusing for players to understand as to what they're actually supposed to do. Are you supposed to use loads of kill commands to reduce the cooldown, or are you supposed to use lots of Flanking Strikes because you get so many of them? And yeah, it's not just this talent though that feels like it's fighting against itself. If we move on over to the other side of the tree, we've got Spearhead, which is our new single target cooldown. It's to do with your Mongoose Bite, which is great. Mongoose Bite's hitting like a truck currently, so fun talent. Apart from, if we move down, we see the talent Deadly Duo, which reduces the focus cost of Mongoose Bite, meaning during the Spearhead window we'll be able to do more Mongoose Bites since we have to spend less GCDs on focus generating abilities. Which is good, that's really cool. But then they had to add this second line, which, if they didn't have this line, I would be fine, no issues. But they've added this kill command cooldown reset where it extends it if you reset your kill command, and it's just, once again, it's telling you to do two different things at once. Like, the last thing you want to do during this Spearhead window is spam kill commands. You want to be spamming Mongoose Bites. And in the best case scenario, this is a scenario where you have red bomb because you're taking Wildfire Infusion. You throw it, you spam a few kill commands. Then what, maybe get 6 additional seconds onto this Spearhead window, which you're using most of it on kill commands anyway, so it's like, is it really worth it? Like, it just sounds like I'm moaning. I am just moaning, but it's like so bizarre. And all these kill command things, most of them are minimal power level wise, like you don't really care about them, but it's like it's trying to tell you to care about them. And it's just, why are they even there? Oh, I almost forgot. Stupid ass bloody claws. Right, this talent, probably the worst talent on the tree, or at least tied with Viper's Venom, because my god, this is some hot ass garbage. For literal years, the Survival Hunter community has asked for things to interact with Mongoose Fury window. Like back in the day in Nighthold, we had a tier set around it. And people have made some really cool ideas around it and things that could be done, and then this is what they add. Like, seriously, the last thing you want to do in Spearhead window, like I said earlier, is use kill command. When you're in your high 5-stack Mongoose Fury window, do you really want to be kill commanding? No, you want to be using Mongoose Bite with those last few seconds that you have left. Not to mention the fact that current tuning, this is weak as hell, so you're not going to pick it, which is good, because who wants to pick it anyway? It's just so disappointing that this is what they add for the Mongoose Fury thing. Like, I'm going to stop myself. Right, next issue, let's go! Okay, last main issue is the generic hunter side. I'm not going to talk about utility really. Like, yeah, we don't have a raid cooldown, and the Sentinel Owl thing is still super weak. It still doesn't really do anything. But I'm looking at the bottom of the tree, the damage stuff. So if we go down the left side, we have all this kill command stuff, which I've already kind of talked about why kill command isn't the best for us in Dragonflight. Like, don't get me wrong, we will still be pressing it, and it's not so bad since, it does buff our Mongoose Bite. I didn't really mention that, but that's one redeeming factor with it. But most people currently familiar with Survival have been playing it in Season 3 and 4, where Alpha Predator was really good, because with the tier set, you'd be wanting to kill command a lot. That's not the case anymore. Even before Season 3, it was always competing with Viper's Venom, and Viper's Venom, it usually won out. I mean, it was very back and forth each tier, but in single target scenarios, Viper's Venom has definitely been used more than Alpha Predator. And what I'm trying to say is that this talent doesn't deserve to be all the way at the bottom of this talent tree, hidden behind the two weakest talents on both of these trees DPS wise. I think if you spend the 4 points to get these two talent nodes, you'll roughly gain about a maybe 1% damage increase on single target, if that, and that scales down in AoE since pets don't AoE. So that means picking up Alpha Predator basically costs you the full 5 points. You have to spend 5 points to pick up this one talent, essentially. So, you gotta be full-blown crazy to think that's good. Even if Alpha Predator was twice as good as it is, it's still, you're not gonna pick it up. So this whole left side of the tree, Survival Hunter, never gonna take it. Marksmanship, definitely not gonna take it. So only BM Hunters are gonna take it, which makes it feel like it should kind of maybe go on the BM tree since nobody's gonna use it. Or at least they could, switch it around so Alpha Predators maybe at the top and then all this crappy pet stuff's below it. Like, these trees feel so dead right now, as in there's just so much waste. And we're in tuning phase, so hopefully it's going to get fixed and things will actually be good and you'll be happy choosing talents, but well, yeah, that's why I'm making the video, right? So hopefully some of this can be spread into the world so people know. Yeah, dude, I don't know. The rest of the generic hunter tree is okay. Like the bottom bit with all the DPS, it's fine. Serpent Sting, I wish it was further up or on the survival tree, so they could actually make things that interact with it. But whatever, I'm still happy it's there. Yeah. Okay. Next, Okay, so this video is going on way longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to blast through some of these. This is just tuning's going on right now. So, what needs to be tuned is just a real quick list of what's really weak and what's really strong right now. On the please nerf these side of the list, we start off with Viper's Venom. Oh my god, nerf this thing. This is insane. So just one node with this is already almost 100% uptime of Serpent Sting without even pressing it. This is ridiculous. I hate it so much. They've taken one of our key spells and now you just don't press it. It's just whatever. But from our rotation, gone. Intense focus, it probably gives too much additional focus. Like I was going on about kill command, not having to press it as much. If this goes down a little bit, at least we'll have to press it a little bit more. Ranger, probably also a little bit too strong right now, as one of the stronger talents on the bottom of the tree, and maybe just a bit overtuned. An explosive shot, probably due to Ranger being so strong, but this is doing more damage in single target right now than a steel trap is, and that just doesn't seem right. But this could be due to the fact that Ranger is kind of insane right now, so maybe this gets nerfed, maybe Ranger does, I don't know. That's kind of it. I mean, you could consider Mongoose Bite since it's doing like 40 to 50% of our single target damage, but Mongoose Bite's awesome and it should be doing most of our damage, so I don't care. Same with Serpent Sting, it's doing a lot right now, like 10 to 15% single target scaling in AoE with Hydra's Bite. But once again, one of our main abilities, so I think that's fine. Things on the buff these list. Fury of the Eagle has a 3.1 second channel time and does very little damage. The damage needs to go way up. Coordinated Assault is possibly the single weakest DPS cooldown in the entire game by itself. You need to take the nodes below for it to actually do anything. I feel like the cooldown itself should do something first, so you're not reliant on getting all the nodes. Bowler sucks, does no damage. It's not really a thing that has to do damage because you're taking it mainly to get explosive shot anyway, but still should probably do something. Barrage is just bad. Stampede is laughably bad. And Bomb's possibly too weak too. I actually kind of like it at this kind of level that we're right now, so I'm happy, but people like bombs, so they might be upset, but I don't know, bombs or whatever right now. And yeah, it's just tuning stuff, but a lot of the time things don't end up getting changed. Like some of it definitely will do, but some of it might not. And it's just what's going on right now with survival in Dragonflight, talent-wise. Yeah. We're in need of help.